So when it comes to, let me ask this question, how do modern architectures or modern architecture patterns and practices, whether that's microservices, whether that's automation, whether it's service mesh, service discovery, what have you, how do they apply to the modern API, adoption journey? What does it take to actually adopt these APIs?
Yeah, I guess I'll start with that. I don't know. I don't think it's a really controversial statement, and people don't say it out loud. We talk a lot about the business might not know what it wants or those sorts of things. I guess I would go kind of the root of the problem. I would say most tech executives suck.
Not us though.
Most tech executives suck. Not this room. You guys are cool. But in general, there's a lot of sort of buzzwording that's sort of thrown around, and I read this on CIO magazine once, and so I'm going to talk about API first. If anybody hears somebody say API first, and that's the end of the sentence, like red flag, red flag, because somebody is just saying some words that there isn't anything behind it. There's no plan. What are we going to do differently? What are we going to stop doing? If you say API first, then I should be able to do something different in my job. I should be able to ship something different, release something different. Nobody from the business is saying, you know what I thought about? What we really need to sell more shoes is API first. No, that horse crap comes from executives on the tech side, which is good directive, but it has to be followed up with action and a plan, and that's what creates value. That's what creates value. So I would say, look for those things and make sure you can follow through with actually accomplishing something. It's not just throwing around buzzwords, being awesome, it's something I read in CIO magazine, it's pretty cool. You want to actually figure out, what do I have in the span of my control that I can affect? Maybe it's one service, maybe it's a team, maybe it's a function, maybe it's I don't know. But solve something in that space and then talk about, and this was microservices, and this was API first, and this was cloud native, and this was headless, and look, I solved an actual legitimate problem with this, so we should go do this 25,000 more times. And the part where we get stuck is sometimes we sort of talk about the buzzwords without actually some kind of value follow through, and that's when the business looks at us and says, I don't have time for this nonsense, right? I just have to go accomplish some stuff. You're talking tech, and I don't understand it, and I don't know, whatever, just help me sell more shoes. So that's a big sort of change management piece. It's from the technology space, from technology leaders. It could be technology executives, it could be like principal engineers, it could be anybody that's in a position of technology responsibility. Go take a problem, apply these principles to it semi-quietly, like you don't make a big deal out of it, but just apply these principles, let people know what you're doing, solve the problem, and then talk about how awesome it is. That will create some shoulders that the giants can stand on, that you could go get more emotion. If you do Steve's talk in your company and they've never heard for it before, nobody's going to make any change. You gotta get some wins and then kind of move forward.
Any reactions here?
Yeah, I spot on. So first of all, I would like to say that even Steve Daly
but especially Steve. But not to crap on Steve all day, but if he hadn't had those successes, he couldn't stand up with credibility and have this conversation. So you've got to have those successes to get you credit.
That's right. But to your point, when you talk to the average business person, they don't care if it's API first. They don't care if you're using microservices. They just don't care. They want their website to be faster. They want more capability, right? And really the only way to do that is show. And I think that's where you're going with that, is if you don't have demonstrable progress, it doesn't matter how fancy your architecture is, our business partners just aren't going to get it or care.